Well, that ended quickly. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Joe Daddy's Garage. That was different. Normally it takes a little bit for that to play out. I guess it decided to end on its own. Welcome back to the garage. It is Monday, September 23rd, 2024, and I hope you all had a good week and weekend. Uh, if you're seeing this for the first time, this is a live stream that I do on Mondays at 7 o'clock, unless I have something else that has come up and I can't be here. And I try to help people out with problems they may have with their classic cars. We try to encourage people to interact and be part of the process. If you have a question about a classic car, and my classic car bracket is 55 roughly to 79. So if you have a question or something you want to talk about, subject matter, by all means, I encourage you to get involved. Now, I've been doing this for, I don't know, 2, 3 years probably. I know during the pandemic stuff, I was probably doing this a lot more. And I've just been continuing to do that. And it's been really interesting. I've had some nights where I've had 60, 70, 80 people watching. Some nights I've had 20, 25. And, there's a little view counter up in the corner of my screen. It shows how many people are watching or how many are joining. So if you are enjoying this, or if you want to share it with somebody or anything, you can hit the thumbs up button, and that'll encourage others to get involved and be part of it. This has been a good thing we've been doing. There's been a lot of problems we've helped other people solve with their cars, and there's been subjects that we've talked about that maybe weren't necessarily car related. Maybe they were movie related. Maybe they were food related, because we all love to eat. But there's usually something that we can talk about. So if you'll notice behind me, before I get too far along, that is the 70 Mach 1 that I did I did an overview video on it on the channel, and I rearranged the garage again because that car is going to be going away in the next 2 weeks, I think. It's going to Florida, so I had to get it back out of the from underneath the lift and clean it out of all the boxes of stuff that I had in it that were for my Mach 1 project. And so I've been just prepping, let's say, for this to move down the road. And then, of course, I am working on the 69 Cobra Jet project, and I've been trying to get it ready for primer. So I've been doing body filler work and stuff like that. There are videos out there, recent videos on that, and there will be, of course, another one coming out this week relatable to that. Maybe at least one video, maybe two. We'll see how the week goes. And I have more to talk about with today. There's something I did today that one bad side of it and one good side of it. So we'll talk about that in just a minute. But let's start off and see who is here tonight. And Rick Stevenson has checked in, but he says not going to make the live stream tonight. Okay, well, normally I take my first sip of coffee when Rick shows up. Now that he's been here, there you go. So I'll give Rick a bell. Anyway, yep, there you go. He gets a bell for just leaving a comment. So if you need to leave a comment, or you want to leave a comment, you also get a bell in most cases, depending on what that is. Let's see who else. Rick. That's our second Rick in a row. Rick Gain, No Summer, New Jersey. 64 here. Hope everybody's doing well. Let's have some nice conversation. Hit the like and thumbs up button. Yes. Thank you, Rick. Terry Keithley. Evening, all, Barry. Please hit the thumbs up and like for Barry. It's fall. Yippee, Terry, Betty, and the cats. Okay. Yeah, it was starting to become fall here, and then it completely changed direction, and the temperature started going back up again. In fact, it's 80 degrees in here right now. So it got hot again. Dave Tyson checking in. Good evening, all. Evening, Dave. First Dave sighting. Simone is checking in from the UK. Good evening, Barry and everyone. Hope you are all well. Thank you, Simone. I'll give you an extra bell because you're up late. I know you're up late doing this. Dawn's Manufacturing. Hello from sunny 80 degree PDX. Still working on the house remodel. Sorry, folks, for not posting any Betsy content. I understand, Don. I understand. But I'm glad you're here. Appreciate you. Greg's Workshop is checking in. Hi, Barry. Hope you are all well. You are well. Yes, thank you, Greg. Glad you're here. And Simone is saying hi. I hear a hiss. I think my airline is bleeding out. Simone says hi to Greg. And back and forth between those two. Okay. Greg is in Australia, by the way. So, Greg's Workshop. Travis is checking in, my number one patron. Good evening, everyone. I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. I'm getting close to starting my 6970 project. Garage almost done, being straightened and cleaned. Super excited. That's awesome. So when you say 6970 project, what does that mean? I know you're talking about a 6970 Fastback or Mach 1, but are you building a hybrid? Are you doing something a little bit different? Or is it going to be a 69 or a 70? So give us some more information on that. Because there's a couple things I actually need to bring up about that kind of idea. Rusty's Restoration. Good evening, all, and Barry. Evening, Rusty. Glad you're here. Robert, the Infernal Craftsman. Evening, all. Looks like 99-degree days might finally be over after the cold front last night. Well, that's a plus. So, yeah, I know it's hot in Texas. And Jerry is checking in. Howdy, Barry. Howdy, y'all. We are getting excited to start the vacation. The only thing is I will be kept up the next 2 Monday nights after this so Robert can catch the live stream. And she says, have a great stream. Well, thank you, Jerry. Oh, we even have Betty Keithley checking in. Hi, Barry. Have a great show. Well, thank you, Betty. That's cool. Showing up separate. That's good. Jack W. Good evening, Barry. Finally back on the car, making progress. Okay, that's cool. If you go back to some of my viewers projects videos, you can see the car that he's talking about. It's a fastback that is up in New Jersey. And so I did a video up there on his car, and I did a video on a couple of Cougars that were there, the cars, Cougars, a hardtop and a convertible. So that was a good time to get up there, and maybe one day I'll make it back up there to see progress on the car. Bob Shoemaker, good evening. Fall-like temps this week, but most will be wasted on wife's doctor visits. Nice group of cars at a car show from the pics on Facebook post. Yes, sorry to hear that, Bob. But yes, the car show, it was amazing. South of us, there's a town called Sonoy. If you live there, you have to say Sonoy, but if you don't live there, you say Sonoya. It's Senoia. And every mid-September, they put on a huge car show. And to me, I say huge. Now, there's other shows where maybe there's a lot more cars. They had 600 cars show up to this car show. And, you know, it was incredible. I'm going to show you. In fact, I downloaded, or I sent some pics to myself. If they show up, they're not showing up. Let me send those one more time. That's weird. I end up having to email pictures to myself so that I can get them up here on the screen. But they had over 600 cars at this event, and they had quite the variety. There was even an old GMC motorhome there that was under reconstruction. And, of course, I took Jade and got to, interact with some people and got to show them some things. You know, there was people that had seen my videos. And so they were curious about Jade and were checking it out. And it was fun. Got to interact with a bunch of people and some other people that I'd actually met on Facebook, but I had to meet them in person at the event. So it was a lot of fun. And of course they have food trucks and vendors. and all that sort of thing. Man, 600 cars, and the variety, like I said, there was all kinds of stuff. There was Mopars, and there were some exotic looking things. There was old, what was it, like Cord or something? I can't remember. There was some Nash Ramblers. I don't know why that is not showing. Okay, there we go. Okay, I got a couple showing up here. So I will, let me download these pictures real quick, and I'll show you some of these awesome vehicles that were there. Now, I also interacted with a gentleman who has a Facebook page. It's, what is it? Maryland Classic Car. I can't remember what the name of it is right now. But he was visiting from Baltimore, and we met up at the car show. And he does live streams of his events and stuff like that. But he showed up, and it was funny. He was doing his live stream, and happened to just kind of stumble upon me being there. So it was interesting because he had started the day up in North Georgia and ended up driving all the way south to where we were at, and it was interesting. Let me see if I want to get some of these pictures up. Like this, here's a car. I want to show you this because this car really does mean something to me. This was the first fastback that I did at the body shop. And this car, there's pictures of it, there's videos of it on YouTube, and there's also pictures of it on Facebook and that sort of thing. This was a 70 sports roof, not a true Mach 1, and the guy had brought it to us. He owned it for many years, and he ended up wanting us to do kind of a sort of a boss look to it, but you can't really tell from these pictures. In the stripe, it has USAF, and it was for his son who was in the Air Force, and he wanted to kind of do a tribute to him, and so that was pretty cool. The car itself is just a standard, small block. I think it's a maybe it's a 351. I don't even know for sure, but nothing dramatic. But that car was just a fun build. And here, of course, I had Jade there. Had somebody come by and actually put a note in the car that they had watched my videos and commenting how helpful it was to see those videos. So that was really cool. Now, one of the other ones that really struck me was this one right here. That's a 69, and it had a Generation 3 Coyote engine in it, but that car was really well done. And of course, it's Gulfstream Aqua, which I'm always a fan of. And there's a shot from the rear, and man, some of these cars were absolutely incredible. And it's good to see them in bulk, let's say. And it just doesn't. You usually go to a local car show and there might be 50 cars or something like that, but these were in mass, and it was very cool. Now, here is the GMC motorhome. I'd never looked at one of these before, and this thing was gutted. There was nothing inside of it, but my goodness, what a design! That whole front section, the captain's chairs are just sitting way up high. But this guy had modified this one to where the back end opened up. I don't know what his plans were overall, but it was gutted at that point. But it was just so cool to see one of those at the show. And then you had stuff like this, this old Roadrunner, beautiful car, and of course one of my favorite Mopars, a '67 Plymouth GTX. That's one I would have another one of those had I stumble across one for the right price. It doesn't need to be a GTX. I just like the looks of that 67. I had one of those at one time. All right. So yes, it was a great car show. Had a good time down there. It wore me out though. I will say that because I was out in the sun all day long, and I was spent, and I felt all dusty and gritty because of just sand and whatever blowing around, and it was yeah. I slept really good that night. Jack says yes, Rick. Definitely chilly here in North Jersey. Yep. So Betty Keithley, the cats like your show, so do we. I haven't heard anything about chili. Got any good recipes? Oh, no, I don't have any good recipes on chili. None that I could label off the top of my head by any means. But chili sounds really good right now. Richard Vogel, good evening, Barry. It's great to visit your shop again. Well, I'm glad you're here, Richard. David, the bowler hat guy, greetings from a very rainy Virginia. Oh, well, rain's not bad as long as it's not like raining every day for 40 days and 40 nights. Simone saying hi to Robert. And Robert saying hi to Simone. Okay. Rusty, I wish I had your mad skills on fit and finish. There's definitely an art to it. I mocked up my 65 again this week. Double check before painting. Yeah, and I think you just sent me some pictures. Yeah, it's it's torture sometimes to do all that and make it happen. I was at the car show, and hold on, I got to delete a picture up here somewhere. I was at the car show, and sometimes some cars were just incredible. Some were just average. Some were, just somebody had fixed them up, and that's okay. You're gonna have that wide variety. But there's his car. There's his car. That's looking pretty good. Of course, it's hard to tell from this picture, but I know that fender's giving you grief. Those are always a challenge, getting the fender to line up. Those doors and fenders were always difficult on those cars. But there was one car there that, I'm glad they brought it. It's cool that they're building these cars and working on these cars, but like gaps kill me. I want to have nice, tight gaps. And this car had a gap so big I could put my hand in it. And I was like, and it was all painted up. And I'm like, how do you do that? How do you not? Let me see, my camera's messing up on me. How do you not how do you let that pass, basically, when you see that kind of gap where you put your hand, literally put your hand in it? I don't get it. I just can't deal with that. I can't tell if I'm in focus or not. I can see the cars out of focus behind me, so it's kind of messing with me. So Simone says, LOL, give us a wave. Oh, talking to Robert. Okay. C&J Hoyt. Well, good evening, all. How can a single stage paint from Napa be worth $200 a quart? It's not. It's not. However, whenever PPG is charging $1,000 for a gallon of red, then they can probably get away with $200 a quart. Well, not knowing what the color is, but red is always the worst as far as price goes. I don't know. Yeah, and you talk about the cost of painting a car, and people ask me what's it going to cost to paint a car, and I'm like, it's $10,000 minimum to start, and a lot of places are charging $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 because of all the cost of materials and how nice it has to be at the end of the day. It's remarkable what they're charging for these things. But good question. Rusty sent an email. Yep, gotcha. All right. Simone, Barry wanted to give you an update on the Cortina. Very rotten rear chassis, legs, and floor. I need to unpick the load area to fix it. A big job, and I start my welding course tomorrow. Okay. Well, I'm wishing you luck on that. I mean, I'm hoping that there's pieces available to put it back together. You know, like these Mustangs, there's every panel is available on these cars, but I'm not sure what the, opportunity for those parts is over there. I also tested the engine with synthetic fuel, and it works nicely. Synthetic fuel. Okay. Not sure what that means exactly, but I'm guessing that's a good thing. Travis, I had a 69 Fastback that I sold to my brother. Then a few years after I sold the 69, I bought a 70 Fastback I was going to restore. Bills and had to sell. I love the 69 taillights and the 70 front. Okay. So I'm guessing, okay, here you, yeah, so he says, I will put 69 rear with 70 front. Okay. That'll be, that'll be interesting. I mean, I've seen people do that before. And that's one thing I wanted to bring up. With this car here, as I was looking it over and thinking, what parts can I maybe use off of it on other projects? And there's really not much. The extensions for the tail panel, they're different. And I didn't really think about this. The 69 and 70, the shape is correct on the outside, but where it meets the tail panel, the 70 has a flat tail panel and the 69 is curved. So you can't use those extensions from a set. Well, you could put the 70 on, but you'd have a huge gap. And you can't put the 69 extension on the 70 because it won't bolt up. So I didn't really think about that until I started looking at this car a little harder, and I found out, can't use them. So they're not going to take them off. Greg's Workshop. Hi, very nice. Thank you, Greg. James, my Mustang Garage. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, James. Glad you're here. Dave Conville. Good evening. Evening, Dave. Robert, I want one of those GMC motorhomes. They were way ahead engineering-wise when it came to RVs. Yeah, what's interesting, as I looked at this thing, that rear suspension, I think it had like opposing airbags or something underneath it, if I could see correctly. Like both axles had, like there was an airbag that went this way for the suspension to operate. It was really interesting. I didn't get as far I couldn't do much investigating on it. Also, I know that the guy must have, I don't know if it was intended to operate this way, but he had made the whole back open up like a giant lift gate. I don't know if they were made that way or not. I don't think they were. I think he modified it, and maybe he was going for copying that the camper they used in, what was it, Stripes or something, where they had that same thing. So I don't know if that had an opening in the back. I don't know if he's copying that, but it was definitely a different thing to see. Tim Miller, are 69 doors same as 70 doors? That's a good question. That's a good question. And I'll give you an answer. Yes and no. Yes and no. The outside of the doors are exactly the same. The inside doors, there is a subtle difference. Now, I can't sit here and point it out right now, but in the shape, the stamping of both of those doors, I believe there's like I have to picture it in my mind. I have a set of loose 70 doors, and there is the stamping, the form is slightly different. And I don't remember what it is exactly, but you can see it if you put the two doors side by side. Like it's up in the front where the curve of the front of the door, like up here, in that curve, the inner location, like right there, there's like an extra recess area or something on the 70. Otherwise, they're the same door. There shouldn't be any real difference. So, but if you were having it judged, let's say, and you had somebody who is really, really serious about judging, they would know that those are 70 doors versus the 69. So there is a subtle difference on the inside. Good question. And of course he says OEM, yes, OEM doors. Travis, yes, it is on the outside for sure. Yep, but there is a subtle difference. Tim, I seen front fenders not fit, headlight buckets, take spot welds out and drill holes. Yeah, you can take the fenders and modify them. Now the 70, of course the single headlight, and I think the side marker setup is different on the 70. I don't remember exactly. Now I can look at like these fenders on this car are actually 69, and I think the 70 has a side marker up there behind it, if I remember correctly. So there is a difference in the fenders. Shape-wise, they're the same, but except for that extra hole punched in, and then of course you would have to change the inner structure for the headlight buckets. Rusty talking about his car, saying all aftermarket parts have been a bit of a struggle. I get you. If you go back to the light blue Mustang that I did, that whole car is just aftermarket parts. I mean, fenders, doors, quarter panels, everything. And I had to do a lot of massaging to make all that stuff line up and fit right. Turned out pretty good, but it's not easy. Christian Stefan. Glad you're here, man. I finally fixed my car. Remember I told you about my setup, timing, and everything and asked if you have any ideas and why it won't start. It was a condenser in the distributor. Yeah, I think you gave me a follow-up on that. So I'm glad you figured that out. I follow Christian on Instagram, and he makes some really cool videos, him and his dog, and driving around with his buddies. So it's cool to see, because he's over, if I remember, tell me if I'm wrong, I think it's Romania, I think. So really cool to see his Mustang over there. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I want to say Romania. I don't know if that's what's coming to mind. I might be wrong, though. Rick Gain, good stream so far. I got my ice cream cone, so it's getting better. Okay, good. James, are those lights and stands working well for you? Yes, they are. In fact, that's one over there. Much better than the umbrella lights that I had been using. The only thing I've had to modify or get adjustments on is the tone of the light. I've done a couple of videos where I've done introduction, and it's like, oh, that's way too yellowish. And I've had to adjust them. But yeah, those lights are working very well. Thank you, James. Simone, would it be okay to send some photos of the Cortina and my fabrication? Sure. You probably have my email. I would assume you still have my email. If you don't, there it is down at the bottom. JoeDaddy'sGarage@gmail.com. So, let's go back up here. Jack W., which primer do you like? I'm getting a lot of spatter from this one. And he's asking weld through. Oh, yeah. You know what? I'll be honest, Jack. I quit using it. I quit using that stuff. I could see where it can be beneficial. I've talked about this before. I've had SEM. I've had, what was the other brand? I can't remember the name of the other brands right now. I've tried the zinc. I've had the copper. And they all do that. Now, the only way around it, if you want to use it, is to apply the weld-through primer and then put your piece of metal back up, take a little wire brush or something and brush it off, and then weld it in. But for my thought is, are you really gaining anything? Yes, maybe you're adding some zinc, maybe some copper. But to what end? I mean, the bulk of it's going to get burned out with the weld. So I just quit using it. I'll focus more on getting good welds in there and making sure everything is sealed up, primered, painted, and not worry about that sort of thing anymore. I still do using it occasional. I still use it occasionally. In one instance, when I put on the front aprons on the core support on the Cobra Jet, I had bared the metal location. I sprayed weld through on, but then I used the spot welder. With the spot welder, I'm probably a little more happy with it. But as far as welding with a MIG, I really don't see the benefit anymore. Just my opinion. Good question though. Simone says she likes U-Pole. Yep. Christian, thinking of moving the points to go with electronic ignition. Any idea what to buy? I know Petronics, but are there any other out there that perform good as well? Looking to get the best bang for the buck. I don't have a great answer for that. I know Petronics has been good. I've heard people have problems with Petronics, so I don't have a great answer. We'll see if anybody else in the gallery has an answer for us, and we'll take it from there. Good question. Thank you, Christian. Terry Keithley, 1 gallon of Shopline JP377 plus activator, $300. JP. Oh well. I don't know if that's good or bad anymore. I don't remember what it was before. Thank you, Terry. Mr. Mikey, got time to listen tonight. Hello, all. Hello, Mr. Mikey. Glad you're here. Stephen Franks, good sound with cell, but always very weak on YouTube TV. I'm sorry to hear that, Stephen. I don't know what else I can do. I've got the mic about as close as I want to get it to me. So, but thank you. Dave Britton checking in. Hello, Dave. The Dutchman's Wood Shack. Hello from North Carolina on a road trip, my friend. Awesome. Nothing wrong with that. Glad you made it. James, that GMC motorhome was used in movie Stripes. Yes. Yeah, and I don't know if that guy is trying to copy it, like copy the Stripes vehicle. I don't know what his plan is. But I don't know if that in that movie the rear opened up or not, but he has it set up for the rear to open up. Dave Tyson, motorhome has Tornado running gear. Yep. Thank you. Robert, yep, they had the airbag set up like that. The rear suspension gave it a low floor for more interior room. I was really surprised at how much space was inside of that thing. I mean, it was wide open. Now, granted, you start putting up walls, putting in things, it's going to obviously take it away rather quickly, but it was huge in there. You could have put a full-size truck inside of that thing. Bob Shoemaker 70 has the access holes for Mach 1 lower trim. There you go. That's the difference. Thank you, Bob. That's exactly right. So that different shape on the door panel or the inner structure of the door, there's a recessed area for that bolt to come through and the nut to go on it. That's what I was trying to get to, but Bob cleared it up for us. Greg has at a good price. I paid $150 a liter for my car. This is the full price, $750. I don't know for sure, Greg. I don't know for sure. I haven't bought anything in a year or so, and I don't remember what the pricing was, so I can't say for sure. Christian says yes, Bucharest, Romania. Hey, yay for me! I got it right. Harvey checking in, Rally Cat Garage. Hello, Barry. Listening to your show, and in the garage installing an alternator in a 2012 Acura MDX. Happy Monday. Well, glad you're here, Harvey, even if you're just listening. James, test fitting wheelhouse to quarter panel, hit a problem. At the bottom where it's in the rear, wheelhouse is actually square, but quarter panel is rounded off. Best way to modify. Quarter panel, the wheelhouse is square? I'd have to see that, I guess. We lost a quarter panel. Okay. I mean, I probably don't have an answer without looking at it. Now, normally if I have something that's out of shape like that, I will I either cut off that piece and hand form the piece and weld it back in. I've done stuff like that before. I don't know if that would solve the problem or not, but it's really hard to give you a good, easy answer when I can't see it. So, but I've had to do that before, where I've cut pieces out and just made my own piece and put it in. And I've got some pictures from Simone, so we're gonna look at those in just a minute. Okay, I probably won't get all those up. Let me see if I can clean out some of these older pictures and see if I can get some of Simone's up here. Give me just a second. Yeah, I've had to reshape the pieces on occasion, and it's just a matter of, taking your time and trying to make them do what you need it to do. But maybe if you send me some pics, I can look at it and help you out with it. I've got all these pictures from Simone, so we'll see if it'll take this last one. Okay, let me put on a comment here real quick. So Simone has sent me this. That's her Cortina, and that's all too familiar. Rust. Very bad rust. So there's a piece that is separated, and then it appears that she has made some new pieces. That's pretty good. I must say that's pretty good, Simone. Well done. That's gonna really help getting those welded back in. Pull this off real quick. Okay. Okay, so Harvey, Petronics in my 68 Mustang Tina and in Jared's Mustang Casper, no problems, but still carry points in the glove box. Always be prepared. Okay, so there's an endorsement for Petronics. Tim Miller, try GM Spark for Ford's working good points or good points. Work to keep. Oh, it's work to keep working parts. A week old stock. Yep. James, you had that problem on Jade, but didn't show solving it. I guess I'll have to. I guess I'll have to review. I don't remember. I've slept a couple times. I've slept a couple times since then. But yeah, I'm sure there's. I'd have to send me some pictures, James, and I'll see what I can come up with. Simone, all I used fabricate was a bench vise, angle iron, tin snips, and a hammer. That's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. Very nice hand tools, says Robert. And Simone says thank you. And Mr. Mikey, did Jade get sold? Not yet. Not yet. I'll bring this up. I get. I'm picky. I'm picky. Y'all know that. I like to have things right. I like to have things fit right, operate right, and I have an issue that I'm not happy about. So let me just put this back up so we know what we're talking about. So I took Jade to the car show. Everything operated fine, drove fine. and acted as it should. So there's Jade at the car show. Now, I put in a radiator in that car several years ago, an aluminum radiator from Alloy Works, and it's fine. The radiator does what it's supposed to do. Really hard to mess that up, right? Now, the problem I've run into, and I have to fix this because I can't let things like this go. If it bugs me, it's probably going to bug somebody else. The what was the word we used, Robert? The twin electric fans have developed a resonance. I don't know why. I don't know if they're cheap fans. I don't know. But when they are spinning, they like fight each other harmonically. And what that ends up happening is it creates a vibration. And I can feel that vibration in the front end. I can feel it in the steering column because it's like those fans are just fighting each other for who's going to be the dominant one. I don't know. And it bugs me bad. And I don't know. Obviously, I could, again, sell it to somebody and say, good luck. And they might call me up in a week and say, hey, what's up with this weird vibration, right? I can't have that. I just can't. I have to fix it. So the problem I've run into is finding a shroud that'll fit that radiator because the radiator itself is 24 inches wide, and then there's flanges on the outside, and the interior height is about 16 inches. I can't find. I've ordered a shroud from another company that comes with a fan, and I'm going to have to pull that dual fan unit off and then put in this other one. And I hope that takes care of any problems that I have. Now, as Robert has said, circle track shroud, that is one thing I've looked at, is getting one of those. You can buy it, and you basically cut the center out to the dimension you want, and you rivet on a shrouded ring, so you make the shape that you want. Or you can probably put in an electric fan, however you want. The problem is, again, trying to find that dimension. You know, I want to have it aluminum, and I don't think I'm going to be able to make one. I know I could make one, but I would have to make it out of steel. I'm not going to make it out of aluminum. So the thing is, there's a new one coming, and I have to address that because I just can't. You know, if I'm driving it and I can feel something wrong or whatever, it's got to be right. I don't want to have somebody get it. Like I said, in a week or so, they call me back and say, hey, this thing has a weird vibration that I don't like, and what can we do about it? And then it might be back to me fixing it again anyway. So I'll just be proactive and fix the problem one way or another. But yeah, I do plan to get it sold, but it's got to be right to leave my shop. I won't let it go out the door unless everything's working right. So thank you, Mike. Mike Wencho, Magic Mike from Cleveland, Ohio. Well, welcome. Greg says to Simone, that is very good, talking about making that the frame rail. And as Robert has said, circle track shroud. And that still may be a possibility. I've even considered going back to the regular fan. But the problem is I've got a radiator in there now that is 24 inches wide, and I have to come up with some sort of shroud. And if I do go back to a regular fan, I would have to use the, like I said, the circle track type of fan kit. Mike says he sold the 17 Nova because of back problems. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. And Smoke says thank you to Greg. And James has sent me some pictures. So it might take it a while. Let's see if I can look at these. Okay, I'll look at those in a minute. The angle doesn't help me much. I'm trying to. I'll have to take some time and look at those to make sure I understand what we're looking at. So we'll come up with something on it. The other thing I want to talk about. I went on a scavenger hunt today, or a wild goose chase, one of the two. I've been looking for parts for my 2009 GMC that I tow with and stuff, and so I've been looking for a center console for one of those. My truck has a center jump seat, which I have no interest in. I don't like it. I don't want to have them. I don't want to have a center jump seat. I want a center console, cup holders, and a place to put junk. So I've been looking on Marketplace, and I keep finding potential deals, and I thought I found one. And so I messaged the scammer, I should say. Didn't really realize it. I had a suspicion, but I was also like, if this is a good deal, I need to get this thing. So I ended up messaging them. They gave me an address. I pull up the address, and it's a junkyard in North Georgia. Like it's an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes away. And I'm like, okay. And they also said they open up at 10 o'clock. People have been showing interest in this. If you want to be there, get there early and get the thing. I said, okay. And of course, I should have caught the red flag when they were like, well, if you can make a deposit, I'll hold it for you. I was like, I don't do that. I'm not going to do a deposit. Silly me. I take off this morning, 8 o'clock this morning, and drove all the way up there. Found the junkyard. Walked in, and the guy looked at me, and he says, "You're looking for seats in the center console." I said, "Yeah, I am." He's like, "They're not here. Never have been, never will be." The junkyard was a junkyard that had Bentleys and Rolls Royces and Mercedes, all these European cars. And turns out the guy had been scamming people with these pictures, trying to get them to make a deposit. Not this guy at the junkyard, but the scammer trying to get people to make a deposit, and then they'd go try to get these parts, and of course they weren't there. So I'm not upset with the junkyard guy. It's not his fault. And I should have been a little more suspicious. I guess I'm just too trusting in a sense. And so I drove all the way up there for nothing. However, I was driving back, and I drove past a place that I had heard about, but I had not seen before. And if you'll notice in the pictures that are on the thumbnail, that it was. I stopped at a place. Let's see if I can get these pictures up. I stopped at a place. It's the Savoy Automobile Museum in Cartersville, Georgia. Now, I had heard about this place, and I had not been there, but that is what this truck is from. Okay. Now I go inside. I pull into this place to try to, I figured while I'm up here, I'm going to go ahead and try to, do something productive and get to look at some cool cars. Unfortunately, that place is not open on Mondays. So, whenever I go to places like that, I'm not going to give up. So I ended up going to the side building that was there, and it's a beautiful facility, by the way, just incredible. I go to the side building where I saw somebody come out, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to see if I can at least just get a look at something while I'm here. So I did that, and they, as it turns out, of course, the business was not open to the public at that point. And I walk in to the side building, and you can see in the background here these racks they had so many cars up on these racks. You can see the racks in the background. This thing, I mean, that's a restored checker cab, which you don't find those anymore. Um, Here's I'm not even sure what this was, some sort of Chrysler or something. But all these cars were sitting in their storage building. And so I heard these guys talking, and I walked in and I said, "Hey, I know you're closed, but I just wanted to take a chance and see if I could find anything or see anything." And they were like, "Well, it's not something we let people in here and blah blah blah." So I talked to them for a little bit, and then they were like, "If you want to take some pictures, go ahead." So I actually had posted some of these. I posted these on Facebook too. Um, but man, they had so many cool cars in there: Studebakers and Corvairs and Ramblers and just all kinds of stuff. I'm not going to try to pull them all back up, but every one of them was just incredible, straight as can be. Um, just just gorgeous vehicles. Studebakers, Thunderbirds. There was a Tornado in there. In fact, there was Customs. You can see up on the above that truck is like a '34 Ford sedan, and I mean it was just jaw dropping. So I need to make another visit up there and get a look at those. Unfortunately, other than going up there for another reason and being scammed, which I didn't lose any money. I actually lost about 4 hours of time. I was so happy to see that place. And so I'm going to try to get back up there and do another tour. And maybe I can meet some people up there. I found out that there was several people who had commented, says, "Oh, I only live so far from there." So who knows? I might try to make it a group event, see if there's some followers in that area and say, "Hey, I'll meet you up there. We'll do a walk around." So I'm happy I found a place anyway. Simone says, "Have you heard of a power generator called EcoFlow? I'm looking at buying one. It can power a welder." I have not heard of EcoFlow. Can't help you with that one. Okay, so James is saying it's where the wheelhouse quarter and trunk drop off all meet at bottom of quarter. Okay. Simone says, "I hate scammers." Well, yeah. That's yep. Can't argue that. Robert, EcoFlow batteries and inverters are very well made units, so there's an endorsement for that. Simone, Robert, I can get a reconditioned unit for 550 pounds. Dave Conwell, I believe the green sedan is around a 50 Kaiser Fraser, pretty rare. Yeah, I mean, I don't know for sure. I can't tell from the pictures that I have here. Let me see if I thought I had sent another set of pictures, and I don't know why I'm not getting the pictures that I'm for myself. It's weird. They like disappear. Like they're not showing up. Yeah, they're not showing up. They show up for a minute and then they're gone. Okay. But yeah, I would say that's a pretty rare car too. Pretty rare. Oh, get back over to the comment section. Dave Tyson says green is a Hudson. Okay, well maybe it is. I didn't get to look at it that hard. Simone, green one is stunning. Yes. Simone and Greg. Yeah, James, I'm only 40 minutes from Savoy. Yep. Dave, next to tow truck is a very rare Kaiser Darren, a fiberglass Roser that came out a year before the Corvette. Very, very rare. Had sliding pocket doors. Now you got me like, I mean, I just did a quick walkthrough on this place and snapped some photos. and I couldn't stay there. I couldn't do much more than just walk around briefly. But thank you, Dave. Okay. Green is a Hudson. Okay, and then Robert says 51 Fraser, Manhattan. Okay, he cheated and used Google, so Robert wins with the Fraser. Mr. Mikey says quite the collection. Yeah, and that was just the storage area. That was just the storage area. You know, and there's just in there, it was incredible. And I said, I don't see any Mustangs. And the guy was like, oh, yeah, we got a Shelby GT500 sitting in the showroom and a 65 convertible. And I'm like, But I couldn't go into the main building, so it didn't matter. Yeah, Robert used Google Lens. Okay. Greg, can I send you a link? Not tonight, Greg. If you're talking about like being on the stream, I can't do that tonight. I've got other stuff I have to take care of. Too much going on right now. But yeah, those cars. And the thing is, when you're a car person, you know, and you really, like, you all know, I'm like, I focus on the details. I try to make sure everything is right. I honestly felt so inferior. I'm looking at these cars and the paint, the fit and the finish, every single one of them was incredible. Now, I know they didn't come out of the factory like that. We all know that. But those things were spot on, as perfect as you could get, in my opinion. And I could only do a quick walk around. So I'm gonna have to go back up there and do more investigating. The other thing, that was the other thing. There was a what did they call it? The 34 Chrysler Aeroflight. Is that what it was called? I never get that name quite right. I think it was Aeroflight. There was one of those up there, and the guy was working on it. He had just taken a radiator out, airflow. 39. Yeah, thank you, Robert. 34 Chrysler Airflow, and I was like, my jaw dropped when I saw it because it was behind this other car that he was working on, and the front end was all apart. The radiator was out. He said it had been leaking. But the rest of the car was gorgeous. I mean, it was just gorgeous. And my jaw dropped. I said, I know I've never seen one, and I didn't think I would ever see one of those in person. But there it was. I was like, that's amazing. That's amazing. So we BS'd for a little bit and got to see, some really cool stuff. Really cool stuff. So I'm going to try to make a trip up there. I don't know when, but maybe I'll post it on my Facebook page or something, that if there's people that are interested in live in that area and want to get together, maybe we can do that. I'll come up and do a walk around and enjoy the place. So Car Guy Troy, yes, Chrysler Airflow, Dave Conville, Chrysler Airflow, yep. Mr. Mikey, you are still our master craftsman for old Mustangs, bar none. Well, thank you for that. I try. I do try. And James, I got to go early tonight. Have a great night and week to everyone. Good night all. Yeah, I think I'm probably, because I can feel it right now, my voice is going out. It's getting rougher and rougher, and that's usually a good sign for me to know that my night is ending. So we've been at this for an hour, and it just all of a sudden started getting really bad. We've been at this for an hour, and that's plenty. That's plenty. I do appreciate everybody being here. Now, I am working on the next video. It'll at least be a bodywork type of video where I'm doing filler. And if I can add into it spraying epoxy on the car, maybe I'll do that. I don't know yet. It depends how much time I have tied up with the body filler segment. I don't want to make it an hour and a half long. You know how that is. But we'll see what I can put together. If I can do them both together, I'll put them both together. But Otherwise, I'm going to say that's it for tonight. And I'll be back. Should be back next Monday. I don't think there should be any issues. And that'll be it. So until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.